Ready? We're back in open session. Now, at this time, we need a motion to approve the contract for Ms. Cameron, Ms. Gemma.
We got to approve the personnel recommendations, right?
Right, typically the first.
Yeah, first, let me have a motion to approve the personnel recommendation.
Make a motion to approve the personnel recommendations.
Second.
It's been motioned by Ms. Hale and second by Ms. Harrison that we approve the personnel recommendations. Are there any questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye. Aye.
Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve Ms. Dameron as for transition to the vacant HR position as interim HR director effective today, January 18th.
Second.
Been motioned by Ms. Hale, second by Reverend Sight, that we accept Ms. Demeron's new contract beginning today. Are there any questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve Matilda Campbell, to extend her contract through February 29th, 2024 as the finance officer.
Second.
Okay, it's been motion by Ms.
Mr. Williams, do we need to say interim or no?
It's interim.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's right, so this is a motion to extend, motion to approve an amendment to extend Ms. Campbell through the end of February.
Yeah, because she's already been approved as interim.
Okay, it's been motion by Ms. Hill and second by Ms. Harrison that the contract extension be extended for Ms. Campbell. Are there any questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Mr. Williams, I know it's going to count in the affirmative, but I abstain from that.
And you're gonna have to vote one way or the other. Unless the group feels that you got reason to not vote.
Okay,
It's a conflict of interest. I mean, that's the rule that we passed, that we had to vote. So
okay.
either you vote yes, or either you vote no. If you abstain, it comes to yes.
That's why I said, I understand if I abstain, it's gonna be counted as a yes vote. That's what you saying, right?
Right, that's what happens, so how you vote. It's gonna be it's gonna be a yes,
Yeah.
so it'll be yes. Motion passes.
I make a motion to approve Dr. Kenneth Simonton, to extend his contract through March 31st, 2024.
Second.
It's been a motion by Ms. Hale, second by Ms. Harrison, to extend Dr. Simonton's contract. What's the date? What was the date?
March 31st.
March 31st, through March 31st. Are there any questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Ms. Berry Robinson?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Okay, that's the last of the agenda. Do we have any nepotism?
No, but it was one thing that I said I needed to bring up, and our attorney said that that needed to be brought up in open.
Okay, do we need to add that or just discuss it?
It could just be under the same agenda item, action closed.
Okay then. All right, Ms. Berry Robinson.
Okay, so my question was based on The information that we have been presented tonight by our attorney and based on the information that we received in our last session that we had with the attorney that supports us with our hiring. Do we feel as a board that we need to move those dates back to allow additional time for so that all board members can be present for the interviews, which was the recommendation of the attorney at that time?
I feel like, as I shared on that night, I feel that, all board members need to be present. As far as the applicants, that date was set to choose applicants, so I don't think that need to change. Cause we chose that night.
We choose applicants. We already chose.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think they need to change.
But you're saying the date in which, because what he said to us is at least by at least the 20th, so that will give them, the candidates time to prepare and all of that. But he didn't say it had to be that day. So are you saying that look at another date to start that process?
I would like to have all 7 board members present.
I think that's very important, and our attorney at that time said basically the same thing.
The thing is getting a date, whereas all board members can be present.
Well, that's with anything we do, we have to look at multiple dates.
Well, anyone else?
Anyone else?
Okay, Attorney Malone, he did speak in terms of it'd be nice to have everyone there. But he was aware of the situations we have been trying to have, regular meetings, call meetings, meetings with Rachel, and even in this process of selecting, individuals for superintendent. We had 5 people to show up, and the 5 that were there decided then to do it on January the 20th. We worked out the schedule, Ms. Berry Roberts, as you know, so that we could accommodate you. But I don't see moving things out in the fall. We have 4 candidates. The attorney had lined them up, did the time. We went back and changed the time because Ms. Hill had a funeral that she had to attend at 2:30. So we went back and called the applicants and gave them a different time, at least a 4th one, to change the lunch time so that we could go straight through and do it. I just feel that we picked the 20th and that's where we should stay. You had opportunities to be at that meeting, and I don't know what the reason was, but individuals weren't there. And you did even submit names to who you thought you would recommend. And we had those names since December the 12th. And we just had this meeting, what was the 11th? And so I don't see change. What's gonna be another time when we can? Those people already been contacted. So some of the members won't be there, and we'll say they had another obligation or they couldn't commit to that Saturday. But that's gonna be better, I think, than calling these applicants at the last minute and trying to change interviews. As far as I'm concerned, our image is already bad enough. We have these people that are interested, and hopefully they'll still be interested. But I feel that this being the first interview, we should go ahead with those interviews, and then we work on doing the second interview. I'm finished.
Well, I know for me, having to, saying that date, you know, that I already had something, I will be trying to work around something, for that last one. Still, like I said, my time is flexible. Well, I try to be very flexible. But with that date coming up and me already having something scheduled, that's why I wanted to, I said that, you know, that last one probably would be an issue for me being able to do, and it still is. Because I looked at what I had once I got home. But as Rod said, as I said when I was there, as Ms. Hill said, I just wish that we were able, because we're talking about building our image. We're talking about working together. We're talking about the information that our attorney just shared with us. I just think that we need to look at things a little more closely. That's just my opinion, and I'm ready to move forward with a vote or whatever we're going to do to try to finalize this.
You know, Ms. Barry Ross, when we came up with the time on the 20th to accommodate you, because you said you had to be somewhere by 5. And when we worked it out to where we would be finished up at 1, you said that gave you plenty of time to get where you need to be by 5 o'clock.
At that time, that's exactly right. But I said that I would try to work it out. But when I looked at where I had to be and at what time I had to be there, then the 1 o'clock one, I think is over at 12:45, and then it's one at 1. I think that's what it is.
The one at 12 that we would be having lunch, that's when we're going to do the interview. And
Right.
have lunch after that.
So that is the one that I will miss, based on the time that I have to get where I had already scheduled. So, but I'm going to participate in the others. But as I said then, I just wish that all of us could be a part of it, because we all have to work with that person.
Well,
And it's a better look to me.
sorry.
I'm going to say this because Mr. Williams, you told the board this since you've been in the position as the leader of the board. You told us that you weren't gonna be calling us and you weren't gonna be texting us, talking about meeting dates. And that January the 4th, that you said that, Mr. Williams, that January the 4th date that you sent out on email, you basically said, this is the meeting date. If you can't come or whatever, you just respond individually. The meeting was set for January the 4th. I couldn't come. I had a conflict. On the email that you sent, you said the meeting is gonna be held January the 4th at said time, said place. You can't come, respond individually, but the meeting was set. Now, I couldn't come. And I don't operate that way. I need a choice of whether, and I know when I was serving where you serving, I didn't do that to you. I never called the meeting.
Yes, you did.
No, sir.
Don't tell that tale now.
No, sir.
Don't tell you tell that tale.
No, sir. No,
Site.
sir. I never did that to you.
Site, don't.
Got the text message chain to prove it. I always communicated with you.
What you got. You did it.
Well, no, I didn't. And we can go back and forth that to the cows come home.
I'm sorry,
But-
I apologize for cutting in.
Well, look, I'm just gonna say it this way. If we're gonna set a date, and I respect the right of the majority of the government. And I know that has been said before, respect the right of the majority of the government. If I can't be here, I can't be here. And if 5 have to go on, 5 go on, if the 6 go on, I'm just one person. And I'm 4 as a quorum. So I respect that right of the board. I can't be here on the 20th. And if, you know, the board chooses to go forward, that's fine, because 4 or more is a quorum. So I just want to put that out there as far as I'm concerned. I won't be available.
I will say this, and I'm just looking back at the emails, when Mr. Thorpe, Attorney Thorpe sent us an email on December 13th. And at that time, December 13th, a meeting was scheduled then on that email. To discuss choosing of applicants and select candidates for interviews. So, well, Mr. Williams, that's where you got the date from, isn't it? For that meeting,
But for,
yeah. And whenever
for
we
which
met,
one? For what
we was choosing the,
candidate?
yeah,
That was, what, last week?
well, whenever it was, and at that meeting, I think because to kill two birds with one stone, other things were added onto the agenda because we had an open session
That
and,
was CMA and, CMA Superintendent said.
yeah, what day was that? What
That
day?
was January 4th.
Okay. I got third up here, he sent to us, I thought it was the same day.
We did
But-
discuss all those things on the same day.
Well, now,
We discussed all those things on that call meeting.
I know, no, but I'm saying, I know we discussed it all on the same day, but I'm saying when he sent us the email back in December, Mr. Thorpe, Attorney Thorpe, he sent us an email back in December. December the 13th. And I thought that maybe, this was the same date that he had set, because on this, he says January 3rd to call a meeting and he has the application materials in here included in this email. So I was thinking that with CMAR, it was just killing two birds with one stone, because we had to approve somebody for CMAR or talk about that. And if we already had the audience, well, the board's attention at that meeting, we could do, kill two birds with one stone. And it mean that's what we were supposed to do, choose the candidates that we were looking to interview. It didn't say that we were gonna set a time, but we set a time, because that's what we normally do, and we were there, we talked about it, and our time was set. I did ask at that meeting about the individuals that was not present at that time. But you can't make them all, just like I wasn't there, and I made that point that night. I haven't been present with some meetings, but the decision went on and I had to just live with the decision. But because this is the most important decision that our board would ever make, I've shared that, I've expressed it, I would like to have all 7 members present. But there's a problem with us coming together. So when will everybody be available? We had discussed a meeting tonight. That meeting ain't gonna be till way the end of February, when everybody can be available.
Well, that wasn't
reached
based
out
on
to
us, Miss. That wasn't just based on us. That was because Dr. Simonton said he needed to make sure that Ms. Campbell and Ms. Dameron were available. So that was not just dependent on the board.
Well, I reached out individually and asked the availability. The first available date that I got was in March.
Okay. So what's wrong with March?
There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. What I'm saying is we need to come together and stop working against each other. Work together. Working together works. Whenever it is. But we don't want to wind up being in June. It's kind of like kicking the can down the road or whatever. We got to sometimes make a sacrifice, time. We all have things going on in our lives. And you're not gonna be able to make them all. I didn't make it to the last time, but I said I was okay with it. You all go on with it. I don't want to stop the business of the district just because I can't be there.
Well,
I'm fine with
if
not
it-
being there. I'm so fine with not being there. It's okay. Move on. I'm not stopping anything.
We need to be together on this.
well, did you look at Ms. Hale, if you can't do if weekends are already taken, if we have split the number of candidates and do 2 evenings? Was that
Well,
an option? I'm
It
just
is-
saying, since you're saying,
However we have to do it, I just want to get it done. It
okay,
doesn't matter to me.
Okay,
Right.
just a minute, Attorney Weber.
Just gonna say, to the extent that it helps with, moving the conversation forward, as I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, but did the board vote to schedule interviews for the 20th? Like, was that an actual board action at the last meeting? And if it was, like, if there was agreement by the board, the majority of the board at that meeting, then, what would need to happen here, if there was to be, that was to be rescheduled, there would need to be a motion and an actual board action to do that.
I don't think it was a vote. It was just discussion, wasn't
We
it?
just discussion, we just came up with a
Together,
date
yeah.
that everybody
I don't
could
think
meet.
it was a vote. A formal
So
vote.
we-
So I do think board members, if, again, with NCSBA, they kind of typically handle all the scheduling pieces. If the board now were to vote to reschedule, I don't necessarily know if Sam Thorpe, the attorney from NCSBA who's overseeing all of that would need specific dates, or whether you all would want to delegate the authority to identify dates. But again, to the extent that it helps move the conversation forward, I think if anything is going to happen, it would need to be through a motion, and a vote on motion second and a vote on that motion. Since you've already scheduled interviews for the 20th.
Is everybody planning on coming? Are you planning on participating?
When?
At all, period? Did you want to participate? Do you want to be a part of it?
I can't participate on the
I
20th, the
understand
date
that.
that was set. I'm not going to shun my responsibility, but I had other things already in place from last year on January the 20th. I just can't meet on January 20th. That's not good for me.
So, Attorney Weber, you said we need to make a motion as to whether we'll stay with June the 20th,
January.
January the 20th.
Right, if the board does nothing right now, interviews proceed on January 20th. If the board wants to reschedule, that would need to happen through a motion and a vote and action.
So Reverend Sites, so what Ms. Hale was asking, we know you can't come January the 20th, but if we was to change it to another date, will you be available? Are you going to participate in doing the interviews?
If I'm available, yes, I'm going to participate as I always do if I'm available, not just for that, but for board business period. If I'm available, yes, I'm gonna do that. I'm just not available on the
Saturday.
20th, and I'm not asking anybody to move anything for me. Please don't anybody
Yeah, I
think that.
know, we understand that, we
I'm
understand
not
that.
asking anybody to do that. I'm just not available on the 20th.
So is there a motion?
Motion for what? We have
To- The
to.
motion is to remain with the 20th, and then we have to come back and get another date?
Well, no, so the board has already set January 20th
20th.
as the initial interview date.
Okay, so.
So that, if there's no motion, no action, then that date just stays on your calendar. That's a decision the board already made. If the board wants to reschedule, I think that needs to happen through a motion made by a member to reschedule interviews. In terms of the amount of detail, you could certainly pick a date, or it could just be a motion to reschedule and to delegate to the chair and the vice chair, for example, the ability to work with NCSBA to identify available dates and times. I mean, it's really at your discretion how much detail you want to put into it.
I feel like if we reschedule, we need a date set in stone. And if we can't get a date set in stone, we might as well just go ahead on with what's in motion.
I think we need to look at a couple of dates. If we're gonna change it, I think we need to look at a couple of dates. If the weekends are tied up for people between now and end of February, then maybe we can look at 2 evenings that people can come in and do it and just knock out whatever we need to. If we're gonna change it, is what I'm saying.
Is
And
there a
then that
motion?
way, that's something we can give the attorney to work with.
Is there a motion? Is there a motion?
I was
Okay.
making the motion. I'm sorry. I was making the motion. I'm not sure if you heard me.
No, I didn't hear you.
Okay, I make a motion that we look at alternate dates for interviewing to allow all board members to participate.
Is there a second? Is there a second?
I'm sorry, I'm not gonna vote for it until I get a date set in stone.
Is there a second?
That's what he asked.
We can't come up with the date, Ms. Hale, if we haven't talked about it.
Second, go ahead, Ms. Williams, second.
There's been a motion by,
So you just
mi-
want to, now that there's been a second, so the motion was, as I understand it,
To
to
change the date.
reschedule until a date when all board members are available. So if you as a board take that action, all means all, which means you will need to be looking for a date when all 7 of you are available.
That's what I'm saying.
Which is, if that's what the board as a majority wants to do, you can certainly do, but the language of the motion certainly matters. You know, the board wants to consider or contemplate a vote simply to reschedule, then, you know, however that process plays out, and I'm guessing it would involve Sam with NCSBA, since he typically helps to coordinate. You know, that would at least give a little more flexibility in terms of numbers. But if you wanna, you know.
It's almost
set it
like
that it
playing
should
with
be
it.
all then.
It needs
okay,
to be
we have
something set in
a
stone.
motion by Barry Robinson, a second by Robert Sykes to change the interview date from January the 20th to another date to be selected at some time. Are there any questions?
Yes. Do we need to include the language that Attorney Weber is saying? Because this is what I'm saying. If it's not to include everybody, there's no need to change it.
That's what I'm saying.
But if we're gonna include everybody, which I hope that we will, then we do need to look at it.
So you amended your motion to say that it be changed on January the 20th to a date when all board members can be present.
And I think that was the initial motion, which is why I just wanted to, all.
Is that what you saying, Ms. Barry?
I said that was my original motion, but Attorney Weber said that we needed to include, what was it, Attorney Weber?
No, I mean, it's, you know, it's your motion, now it's the board's motion, and the
Sure.
motion was to reschedule until a date when all members are available. And then, you know, the next steps, if that motion were approved, would, I think, include, NCSBA in terms of identifying the specific date. That last bit doesn't need to be part of the motion itself.
Okay, so we have a motion to change the date, interview date from the 20th to a date when all board members can be present. That was seconded by, that was made by Ms. Barry Robinson, and was seconded by Reverend Sykes. Are there any questions? Okay, we'll take a vote now. Ms. Hale,
Come back to me, cause I'm not, I need a date, like I said.
we're gonna choose a date after we carry this. That's, Mr. Will, am I misunderstanding what you saying?
I want,
You trying to get this motion passed so we
Change
can get the date.
Need to get the motion so that we can get rid of the 20th and look for another date. Okay, Ms. Barry Robinson. Ms. Barry
Aye.
Robinson.
I,
Change. Ms. Harrison. Ms. Jenkins.
No, because I had changed mine so I could make the meeting. I had something to do in church, but I told them I could come. So, yeah, that's been changed.
Ms. Robinson.
Aye.
Reverend Sykes. And I vote no. One,
Okay.
three. No, it's already. Okay, the motion carries.
Got to
What,
vote one way or
what's
the other.
yours, Ms. Hill?
I abstain, cause I
Okay,
want a date.
that'll be a yes vote. then.
That's what we getting ready to do now.
Okay, the motion passes, then, January the 20th will not be the day of interviews. I'll contact Attorney Attorney, Thorpe, and see what you can do about the change.
Mr. Williams,
Yes, ma'am.
do we need to go ahead and look at some dates to give you now?
Yeah, we can have dates and see which way y'all wanna go.
So do we need to do a weekend and then give you some evenings?
Well, I think it's hard enough trying to get together on Saturday, much less try to get 2 days. I think.
Mr. Williams, can I start with dates I have?
Yes, sir.
I have January 30th. I have February 5th. I have February 8th, February 9th, February 12th.
February the 5th and what?
And you got January 30th, right?
Right.
Okay, February 5th, February 8th, February 9th. I have February 12th.
That's for February.
And when I can't say the 20th, but y'all gonna be leaving on the 20th, right, or the 21st?
21st.
I got February the 20th also. But I don't know if y'all will want to try to have a meeting that evening, knowing that you got to leave the next day for the conference. Probably need to scratch that, right?
I think so.
Okay.
Okay, who else? Anyone else have any dates? They're available? Okay, let's go. Ms. Hale.
I could really quickly, again, we don't typically get involved in the scheduling, so I don't know if Sam wants to, like, if weekends are generally recommended by NCSBA, did he speak to that at all?
So address him first and see what he thinks.
So if there are weekend dates that are available, certainly include those.
Okay, well, I'll contact him when he send me back a selection of dates, then I'll forward to the board members. Okay, anything with nepotism?
No.
Oh, that's for
That
closed
was
session.
in closed session.
No,
No, we don't have to do that, no.
no, we did, that's right.
We had-
Okay, a motion to adjourn.
Motion
Motion to adjourn.
Been motion by Ms. Barry Robinson and second by Ms. Jenkins to adjourn. Are there any questions? Are there any questions? Okay, all in favor, aye?
All right.
Motion passed. We are now adjourned. Thank y'all for coming by and be safe and keep warm.
Have a good one.